See, transgender modeling agency is not something which I started because of some kind of revenue or some kind of profit. But my entire idea is, when we talk about some products, certain communities are excluded from there. They don't want, and they don't believe that these communities can be part of it or part of it. They have very strong beliefs in, within themselves, their own prejudice. So to break this, and also to also see it as a business, now there is a combination of two things. Although it is a difficult, but my only idea behind this was to break the stereotype that transgender person is not only good enough to take care of sewing machine or makeup brushes, but they can also be a person who can uh, appear as an artist, not necessarily as model, but can be somebody who's doing theater, somebody who's doing acting, somebody who's in dancing, somebody who's into singing. As an artist, transgender person, if somebody sees a person as an artist, I think uh, we can talk and we can articulate about our dignity and what kind of life we really hope to live. So I think to get into this, it was a very difficult thing, but yes, we're still trying. See, there is a lot of damage which has already been done. So what we are into is like the process of repairing those damages. So, for example, if you ever see a television soap or any kind of such commercial or those kind of stuff. Let's talk of 10 years ago. Now things are a bit changing, but not so regressive the way we want. But how the community was portrayed was a caricature of a human being as somebody you can laugh at, somebody you can make fun of it. It was a total mimic of some human being. So there was a lot of disrespect which came along with how Indian media has been portraying transgender or LGBT community for so long as perverts, as maybe somebody who do not fit into the society, who looks ugly. So now how I see is after judgment also, third gender judgment and 377 judgment by the Supreme Court. I think a lot of things are changing, but my only pain is when you speak of communities, uh, trust trust that they are also actors. They are also beside begging and doing sex work, they are good to do a lot of things. So this casting people, this direction, this film, and this writers or any fraternity need to give us opportunity, which is lacking. Overall, I won't say a problem, because problems are something which are very difficult to and you don't want to get engaged into. I think this is something which is how the whole community is conditioned, and how this is how they have been brought up. It's not a mistake. So there is of course a problem as me going out. For me as a person, daily life is difficult. As an organization, it is difficult to explain people who we are, and how we think about ourselves, and why it is important to take care of us, as take care of our health, and our our life, why it does matter, being whatever we are, like whoever we are. Even if you think at this point of time that whoever you are as a trans person or LGBT person, there are priorities which uh, everybody needs to take care. And yeah. How Mitr Trust started is because I used to go to a similar organization of where they were giving health services, but it was a target population of a community. They were giving catering LGBT communities, effeminate gay men and transgender community. But at that point of time when I was growing, as because I was born as a according to doctor, I was born as a male child, and while growing up, I never felt the same way. But when I went to this organization, which I believe should be talking about everything, not only about safe sex, but should be also talking about how I'm feeling, how what are the ways I should be coming out, what kind of other help. But they said, please don't act differently. The whole idea of you understand, don't act differently because you don't look the way you're behaving. And I believe that was the most safest place for me, or should have been the most safest place for me, but it failed. And I stopped going there because, to stop yourself behaving in a way that who you are in real is difficult, and to pretend somebody else. And and this is how we started Mitr, believing that every individual do have a right to expression. Just because you're giving services or any kind of facility, you don't have right to control them. It's that they're not harming anybody. And I was one of them. So since 2005, we started working in Delhi, and I think we have reached out many who just wanted to commit suicide because they believe that nobody will understand them, and the people who were thrown out of their house and their homes just because how they express themselves. So it has been a tough journey, but I think this community-based organization was much required. Otherwise, we could have, lost many lives. I will not advise anyone because advising will be very difficult for me. But I can share from my experience that communication is very important, and you cannot be blindly, keep on believing things which are being told to you. Sometimes, as a human being, you need to use your brains. And about, today's generation, how I see, they are very practical. They really want to go into the depth of what they hear, and which is very nice because you have to fact find before coming to judgment. And thankfully, this new generation is quite capable and have a lot of resources as earlier. Now the technology is helping, so I think they are doing great. And yeah.